Is this thing on? It's been a long time. I think I might have forgotten how to do this, but I missed you all so much that I'm back. Thanks to everyone who throws their money into the bottomless pit that is my book buying habit. I might do a video in the future about why I was gone for so long, but for now, let's just say life's been a little difficult and I'm back. So this is a very, very late April TBR. So April, I did something maybe stupid. I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I had signed on for too many things at the beginning of the year, and I was in read-alongs and readathons and buddy reads and too many different reads. I dropped out of the Shogun buddy read or read-along. I last month dropped out of postponed the A Song of Ice and Fire read-along. Looking at the two books that in my edition make up A Storm of Swords was making me nervous and feeling stressed, and that's not what reading should do to you. So I dropped that. I've also pretty much put my Malazan reread on pause because the next book is Reaper's Gale, which is the definition of chunky. And then I joined another readathon this month. It's a very flexible readathon. It's on the Keymark Discord. It's called a TBR Blitz. So the prompts for which books you're meant to read are very, very open, like published in the 21st century. And overall, that was not a bad idea. I came up with some shorter books and some books that I need to read for the things I'm still committed to. But I forgot that I've got a week of holiday in April. I just got back from my week of holiday in which I was busy the whole time, fun busy, and didn't read hardly anything. So I may only manage 4 for the readathon. The maximum you're allowed is 5, but we'll see. So what I already read this month is The Claw of the Conciliator by Gene Wolfe. You may remember that I am doing a buddy read with Philip Chase, and The Claw of the Conciliator, this is 2 books. The Claw of the Conciliator is the second one. I really wanted to stick with this because Philip's a very fine gentleman, and I'm really enjoying rereading this. I think it's my 3rd read over a 25 year period. And what can I say about this book? It's more of the same what the fuckery that was in the first book. If you haven't read the first book, I probably can't say too much about the second one, but much like the first one, it's got a lot of kind of surreal episodes and very strange coincidences and things that don't really make sense at first sight, and a lot of things that are very symbolic. A lot of people say this is an intimidating book, that it's hard work. I would not agree. It depends a lot on your requirement that you understand everything. If you're capable of reading a book and not understanding everything and enjoying it anyway, I would definitely recommend the Book of the New Sun, which is the 4-book series. When considering my reading obligations, so to speak, I prioritized the ones that I actually promised other people that sort of depend on me in a way. And I'm hosting a Realm of the Elderlings read-along, which I've mentioned a million times, so you probably already know. And I've moved into we all have moved into the second trilogy called the Liveship Traders. The first book is Ship of Magic, and Ship of Magic it's an amazing book. It's so good. I had forgotten. This is a reread for me, but I read the Liveship Traders quite a long time ago. If you've read the Farseer trilogy, or if you've started the Farseer trilogy and didn't like it, you should try Ship of Magic. It's totally different. Fitz, the main character of the Farseer trilogy, is not in it. It's a switching POV kind of story, and it switches POVs between people I guess you can call the heroes, although they're not that heroic, and people you can call the villains, although they're unfortunately quite understandable, which is uncomfortable when you would just like to hate someone for being an awful person. But it's got amazingly well-written characters, as everything Robin Hobb has written does. It's got amazing character dynamics, like the relationships between the characters and how they change. There are characters in here, one in particular, I'm talking about Wintro. He changes more than any character in a fantasy novel I've ever read, and it's all sensible and believable and realistic kinds of changes. Very extreme, but the situations and why and how he changes is very understandable. And it's got magical talking ships, which is pretty damn cool. If you hate nautical themed stories, I don't understand how you could or why that's even a thing, but I grew up sailing with my dad, so nautical is totally in my wheelhouse, so to speak. If you don't like nautical stuff, then maybe it's not for you, but it's much more about the characters than it is about sailing. There are a lot of sailing scenes in it. There are talking ships, as I said, which is pretty damn cool. But if you didn't like Farseer, maybe DNF'd Farseer, although I find it hard to imagine. I know that some people don't really jibe with it. Check out Liveship Traders. It is some of the best fantasy around. Right now, I'm working on 2 books. One, heartily recommended by Tori and other friends, is Never Die. I am not actually reading, I've got it physically, but I'm audiobooking this. I'm not sure I'm in love with the audiobook. I forget the narrator's name, but I don't really love her narration. It's okay. It's not horrible, but it doesn't grab me the way some audiobooks have. So maybe I'll switch back to actually reading the paper. This, if you don't know it, is a samurai-ish, martial arts-ish, Japanese-ish, Chinese-ish world and story where a number of heroes, pretty much everyone on the cover except the little kid, are resurrected to fulfill a mission. They've all died, and they're brought back to life so that they can fulfill a mission for the little kid, who is creepy as fuck. It's interesting so far. It's definitely, I mean, as you would expect, a lot of action, a little bit over-the-top character portrayals, a little bit maybe manga-ish with the emotions and the attitude and so on. But I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I'm just not crazy about the narration, so maybe I'll switch to paper. And Evie from the channel She Was Only Evie gifted me a book last Christmas, and I decided to see if I can fit it into the readathon because she raves about it. I've heard other people praise it highly. And that is The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. It's really different. I didn't really have any expectations. I knew it was something kind of mythological-ish, but I didn't really have very specific expectations at all. I just expected it to be good, and it is. But it takes some getting used to. In the first chapter, it switches from second person to third person, and then occasionally first person, and back to third person, and occasionally back to second person. And it's I think I've counted 4 layers of story, inside story, inside story, inside story so far. So you are being told a story by someone. And then in that story, you have a dream, which is then a story. And then in that dream, you encounter people who tell you a story and so on. It switches around in these perspectives and these sort of stories wrapped in stories quite a lot, and sometimes quite quickly. It takes some getting used to, but it's super imaginative, and I actually like reading something that is fantasy, but is totally outside the normal, expected, I'm used to it kind of trope and formula of fantasy stories. And that is definitely what this is. I can so far recommend it. I'm not sure if I will fall in love with it the way Evie has, but I'm pretty close to the beginning still. So we'll see how this goes. And last but not least, if I can manage it in the few days that are still left in April, debut indie novel Seasons of Alberton by Elan Marche. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. This was very, very highly recommended by Tori again, and it's really short. In fact, if I remember correctly, it comes in at 4 pages over the minimum limit for the readathon. The readathon, basically, so that people are not reading 70-page novellas, has said no book under 200 pages, and this is 204 pages, which for me is an afternoon's read. So with any luck, I will finish this and get all 5 of my books for the readathon done. That's it for what I am reading or have read in April. I want to get back to a regular schedule. I'm trying not to overdo it, so I may only be doing 1 a week instead of every Monday, Thursday, which is what I used to do. For a while, I think I might just take it easy, so I might have 1 a week, every now and then 2 a week, we'll see. But I will try and keep it a little more regular. I'm sorry for everyone who is a, I guess, fan and likes to watch the channel regularly. I'm sorry there's been such a long pause. I'm especially sorry to everyone who backed me on Patreon. I made a big announcement that I've got a Patreon, and a bunch of people, well, 6 people, went and backed me, and then I immediately went silent. I have let them know on the Discord that I have not disappeared, so they're not going to be surprised that a new video is coming out. But thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for your support if you are subscribed, or if you like this, or especially if you are a Patreon backer. Speaking of Patreon backers, Trevor was the first person to back at the high mage level, so he has named my sword. My sword's name, until another high mage backs me and renames it, is Name Taker, which, thank you, Trevor. I thought that was a really, really cool name. That is for kicking ass and taking names, but also because it will continually be renamed as new high mages join the Patreon. So check out the link below if you're interested in showing a little gratitude and support to the channel. Otherwise, subscribe, like, all of that stuff. And as always, I hope you're well. I hope you're better than I was for the last month. Keep reading awesome books, and I'll see you next time.